Greetings, lovely listeners. Thanks for joining me here today on Rise and Thrive Insights, where knowledge motivates and elevates. I'm your one and only host, Matara, and I hope today you're both feeling great and looking great. Ready to laugh a little, smile a little, and learn a little. A very, very happy Tuesday to you all. Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope my RTI family has missed me just as much as I've missed connecting with you all throughout the week. Now, we have been connected on socials, and I hope you did get a chance to catch episode 1, the alpha, and today we'll be diving into episode 2, the understatement. We are in a season of love, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope that throughout the year you're receiving love and giving love. It's being reciprocated to you. But we are in the month of February. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. I really do hope each and every one of you do have at least your children, your family, your loved ones, your significant other to share this time with. And if you don't and you're taking some time, personal time in your life, celebrate you. Please, self-care, that is very important. Self-care, I cannot preach it enough. If you feel like you're in this alone or you feel like you don't have someone to celebrate with, just preach and practice self-care. Before we get into this week's WWM, Words of Wisdom with Matara, just a quick recap of last week. Last week in this segment, we did cover pouring into yourself and others. Hopefully this past week, you've had the opportunity to pour into yourself, really just hone in on who you are or who you want to be and how pouring into yourself can help you when you're pouring into others. Did you take a moment this week to pour into others as well? How did it feel? Did you step out of your comfort zone to pour into, someone that you may not have been too keen to pour into before? How did that work out for you? Drop some comments in the comment section. I would really love to hear how pouring into yourself and others have affected you this past week. And if you haven't had the opportunity to tune in yet for last week's episode 1, the alpha, no fair, as soon as you wrap up episode 2, the understatement today, you can go ahead and listen in to episode 1. I've been hearing that it is worth the listen. So please, please, please just take a few minutes out of your day and listen, follow, enjoy, just tap in. Without further ado, on to this week's WWM. He copied me. She copied me. They copied me. What about great minds think alike? So often in today's society, we are quick to point fingers and name each other copycats. Hold on for a minute with me. I'm going somewhere with this. From a young age, we've been conditioned to throw around the name calling or terminology copycat. Now, essentially, what is a copycat? Think of children on a playground, and it's perhaps you would say a form of monkey see, monkey do, right? This one jumps off the top of a monkey bars. Oh, I want to jump off the top of the monkey bars. So I saw John Doe do it, so I want to do it. Now, John Doe feels like he's being copied. So I've strategically set up this primary school example to lay a foundation for a more mature conversation with my audience today. In anything you do, a firm foundation is what counts. So by me beginning with this school children example, we're able to look at the broader picture. How do we think as mature adults or young adults in today's society? Are we thinking that people are copycats, or are we looking at it as great minds think alike? Because too often, two different people have the same brilliant idea, maybe in different genres or hoping for a different outcome, but they are working on the same project, if you will, at the same time, coincidentally, without even knowing it. However, we've somehow gotten into this mentality that I am the leader, I am first, I started this, and I want everyone to know it. That's not how it should be, but this is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I'm going to bring in two major topics: logic and support. Let's start with support because I'd like to start with something that may be a little bit harder to grasp. And it should be actually very simple because it is okay to support one another. It is okay. Supporting someone else does not take away at all what God has laid out for you, or what He has planned for you, or what He is going to provide for you because of His favor. You can support them yesterday, today, tomorrow, and your blessings will still be there waiting for you. Now, let's move on to logic. If we think this out logically, say for example, we'll use this podcast. Now, we have to be open minded thinkers. If I were to say to myself, Matara, well, I started this podcast last week, and then a friend or a family member came out with their podcast the next day or maybe the next week. Did they really copy me? No. In my mind, I would think to myself, wow, great minds really do think alike, because that's where logic comes in. Can they really just, is someone really going to just put together a podcast within a day? And podcasters know how much work and effort goes into it. This RTI family, I am so excited to finally be sharing with you guys. It's something that's months in the making. So these things don't happen overnight. They go with hours of dedication to make things look professional, to make things feel conversational and smooth, and be able to connect with your audience. You have to know what you want. You have to know your mission, vision, values, goals, who you're trying to reach, who is your audience. You need to know these things before you start. And I can honestly say that part of knowing what I wanted and doing my research is what's allowing me to connect with you guys. And I'm so happy and I feel so honored and blessed and humbled to be able to do so. And I just want to open up the minds of others to realize that it's okay for people to have the same idea as you. Who knows? Like, you might have the same idea as someone else, and it doesn't make someone else's better because they started first. Always remind yourself of that. To wrap up today's WWM segment, I'd like to say just a few more wise words before we move on to Tea for Therapy. Please, ladies and gentlemen, do not think of your family, friends, and neighbors as copycats. Leave that mentality in the primary school days as they should be, and let's move forward in our mature thinking that it is all about great minds think alike. In fact, if we were to take this approach, we would come to the realization that we not only create a more blissful environment, a more peaceful environment, but we also create a strong environment for networking. I'd like to challenge you all. The next time that you feel that you have a copycat lurking in the shadows, think of it as it being great minds think alike, and help that person, guide that person, support that person. Think logically. They were probably up to whatever positive things they were doing much sooner than you may have think or realized. You get the opportunity to build a partnership, and who knows, they can be co-host for an episode if it were to be a podcast, or if you guys both launch your book around the same time, you can do a double book signing. People might come out more and show up because there's two authors that they love and they want to see. So there are so many positive things that can become of us thinking great minds think alike rather than he copied me, she copied me. That's for primary school. We're in our mature era. So let's please let us display that because we can get so much farther that way. And without further ado, we're heading over to Trade the Tea for Therapy. I'd like to place a content advisory on today's tea as it is a very touching story. If discussing certain aspects of mental health or miscarriages offend or negatively impact you in any way, please fast forward to the following segment, Wits on a Whim, minute 17. Thank you, my RTI family. Now let's get into it. RTI family, let's start off by showing our love and support for this letter, as it seems like a letter that took a lot of courage to write, and we do not take it lightly that our RTI family member felt compelled and comfortable enough with us to share her story. It reads, Dear God, she wants to thank you for making her a strong woman. When she lost her twins on the plane, she was in pain. She saw that you were there to see her through. She didn't know how, but you were there to see her through. When her ex husband cheated on her, you were there. When she fell in love with the wrong man that used her for everything she had, you were there. When she almost took her life, you were there. When she was almost homeless with her two kids, you were there. When you were there all along and you never turned your back on her. She was able to turn to your words, to get straight back up and fight back, to become a better person, a better mother. You have given her back what she said the devil took from her. You gave her a home. You made her a CEO of her own business. And you are making her a better person. And you never asked her for anything in return. But God, she wants to thank you for making her whole again. She wants to rejoice in your mighty name. God, she thanks you for never leaving her side whenever she thought she had nothing left. That's amazing. RTI family, let's just take a moment to be grateful that this individual has shared her letter and her testimony with us. We are so grateful for the openness that our RTI family members are having and are able to share stories like this, be able to relate to this. Although we all go through struggles in life, it's unavoidable. Our obstacles that we face in life, they're not measurable one to the next. We can't measure one person's obstacles versus another. They all have their own situations, their own intensities for each individual, and they all mean something different to each person. And today, we want to take the time to really narrow in on this individual that was vulnerable enough to share her story with us. She is who we want to reach today. She took the time to be seen, and we want to let her know that we see her, we acknowledge her, and we think that in this RTI family, she was very, very brave back then to be able to pull through a situation like this, and she's still brave today to be able to share her story. It's one thing to go through a story and get through it, but to be able to share it takes another level of understanding and vulnerability. It is so important for us to give credit where credit is due. And today, I just want to let you know, as one of my listeners, as I said before, we see you and we acknowledge what you have been through. And it's amazing. It's amazing that throughout these hard times that you have experienced, you were able to lean on your faith and use God and God's words to bring you back to who you know you can be, a better version, the best version of yourself. I would say it's the easiest thing to rejoice when things are going well, but faith tends to waver when things are not going well. And for you to have mustered up that courage, that desire to seek God in your time of need, to get you back to where you know you can be and where you want to be, that is admirable. And so, yes, you are correct when you thank God and you tell Him that you are happy that He has made you a strong woman. To have not only experienced the loss of twins, but for it to have happened on a plane. And for that to not only be the case, but for you to express your disheartening news when finding out that your ex-husband had cheated, and for you to figure out that you have been used in your past relationship, for it to extend to a moment where you personally did not want to be in this earthly realm anymore, is very, very heartbreaking, heart wrenching. But for you to get back up on your feet and rely on your faith and make such progress is spectacular. It's amazing. It's who you are called to be. I must say that after the trials and tribulations that came your way, I am beyond happy to know that you're now relishing in the good times and you are reaping what you have sown. In your darkest moments, you planted those seeds of faith and now you are reaping in victory. You are reaping in the goodness that's there for you, the goodness that you deserve, the goodness that you're here for, and we as your RTI family are here to see for you. A roof over you and your children's heads, CEO of your own business, and feeling whole again. There's nothing more beautiful than that. This is what we like to see here on Rise and Thrive Insights. Our family members rising and certainly thriving, and we wish you nothing but the best. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please leave your comments for our family member. She was vulnerable with us today, and we just want to leave her some hearts, comment, leave her some positive vibes. We are so happy for you sharing with us, and we just thank you. And right now, we are going to get ready to head over to Wits on a Whim, and let's lively things up a little bit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, time for the segment that you all may or may not have been on the edge of your seat since last week waiting for. Wits on a Whim, Stanley Cup edition. So, what about those Stanley Cups? What's the deal? What's the hype, you might ask? Well, I like to find out myself. But the thing with today's society is that we've always valued what's considered trendy. What's tend to be in the now? What do we want the most? What is everyone grappling for? This Stanley Cup situation has yielded so many comical outcomes, some that are much more serious, and then some that are very strategic that kind of make you think of your marketing strategies. Are Stanley Cups really worth jail time? I don't know if you all have seen this, but roughly 2 weeks ago, a young woman in her early 20s was spotted in a Dick's Sporting Good in California, not stealing one Stanley Cup, not two, not three, but 65 Stanley Cups were recovered from her car, totaling $2,500. Now, is that really worth jail time? Early 20s, potential arrest for Stanley Cups. You tell me. Then we have the other funny stories with TikTok and Reels where we see these skits of husbands gifting their wives what I like to call faux Stanley Cups, the fake Stanleys. And either they are just regular Stanley Cups, or I should say lookalikes, or they are ridiculously huge homemade projects. Where one I've seen that I really enjoyed was one from RNL Life, and the husband grabbed what looked like a gigantic trash bin and designed it real nice, like a fake Stanley, gave it to her, and of course, part of the skit, she acted very pleased, proceeded out the door, placed it in the passenger seat of her car. Don't know how it got in there exactly, and proceeded to reverse, wave goodbye, and smile. It was priceless. If you want, just check out any of these TikToks and Reels going around, or even check out that story with that young lady who stole those cups if you want to know what became of her. But I will say, in the midst of all these bizarre or funny stories pertaining to the Stanley Cup, we have to look at the strategic marketing of this company. Here at RTI, we are here to at least learn a little. So, of course, we got to tie in some life lessons. Let's, picture this. The Stanley brand, a company that's over 100 plus years old, born from inventor William Stanley Jr., is now just miraculously booming. Coincidence? I think not. It's a marketing tactic. Ladies and gentlemen, marketing is everything. Know your audience. You have to know your audience. When this portable bottle was first created, the audience was geared toward working men and, not towards what sells. It was for what is efficient. What do these working men need that are out in the sun all day, maybe doing construction, any type of physical labor outdoor? They need to have their thirst quenched. They need to stay hydrated. William Stanley Jr. not only changed the way hot drinks were consumed forever, but the way we store cold drinks. Back in 1913, when he fused the vacuum installation and the strength of steel in one portable bottle, he was inventing the all steel vacuum bottle that we know and love today. So, as much as the Stanley Cup is cute and colorful now, it was made to be efficient. And we have to think now it is more valuable because not only does it still have that efficiency, but it's now the cutest thing, especially for us women. We love looks when it comes to cute little trinkets that we want to buy. We want our items to look cute, let's face it. And cute sells. Earlier, I did mention that you have to know your audience, which you do, but another key player in this is that you have to be on the right social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know TikTok is a sensation right now. You can find everything on TikTok. It's just, for so long, I've tried to avoid TikTok myself, but I just noticed it's amazing. You have fun dances you can do. You have these little videos you can create. You have recipes you can do. You have funny videos you can follow to brighten your day. TikTok has just so much. There's something for everyone. There truly is. And what helped this Stanley craze to come out was TikTok. The very first time that all these colors were being incorporated to a maximum level, we realized everything shot up, sales shot up just simply from a TikTok that was created with over 20 million views. Can you imagine how many people you're reaching? 20 million views. Of course, it's going to sell at that point, right? A fun fact that I found on Retail Diet that I found pretty interesting was how this craze came about. They've actually stated that it took a group of women who didn't even work at the company but saw the product's potential. This is to show you that sometimes being an outsider looking in, you're able to see the capabilities of something that may have been in existence for a long time, be it a company or a product or just anything that you're able to put to grasp at your fingertips. So kudos to these ladies, these group of women. They know what sells. Being a woman, they know what sells and they know what women will buy. So all in all, ladies and gentlemen, I can say it's amazing to see how just changing marketing tactics cause sales to skyrocket. Just a few cute pop of colors, and boom, your sales are through the roof, literally through the roof. My biggest question that I want to leave you guys with today is this. Knowing what you know now, there's been talk that the Stanley craze is the latest symbol of overconsumption. Do you agree? Yes, it serves a great purpose, but do you agree that it's more of a want and not a need? Do you agree that some are sitting on maybe perhaps 10 Stanley Cups just because of the fad? Do you agree that one Stanley Cup is enough? So, of course, not everyone's going to be into this trend. It is very popular and it is doing amazing right now, but you're not going to find that every man wants a Stanley Cup. You're not going to find that every woman wants a Stanley Cup. But at the end of the day, it's a in the now thing. And I would say, gentlemen, ladies, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. if you're looking for a Valentine's Day gift, I'm not going to say I'm promoting it, but hey, if your significant other is into that type of stuff, why not? Go for it, make their day, get them that Stanley Cup. And I've seen that you can get them engraved on the actual website, so I would say it's a little late to do that. But if you want to say, hey, gifts in the mail, then by all means, engrave it, make them feel extra special. Hey, I wouldn't mind getting a Stanley Cup myself, but just think about that. This was just a nice little conversation, letting you guys know what's in the now, what's happening, and just want to see your thoughts. Be sure to comment in the comment section, and we can certainly go from there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of Wits on a Whim. Come back and join me next week for the same segment, and we will be covering the future of AI and what does it really mean for us. And that brings us to the end of today's episode on Rise and Thrive Insights. I'm Matara, your one and only host, and I do hope that today you have laughed, smiled, learned something new, and are leaving here with a burst of positivity and motivation to elevate your day and week ahead. Be sure to tap into my website, riseandthriveinsights.com, and on all socials at Rise and Thrive Insights. You can follow me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, you name it. Share with family and friends and stay safe and motivated. Until next time, my RTI family.